Attention business owners and leaders. If you want to 10x your mindset, 10x your marketing, your sales, and your follow-up, then you're in the right place with the 10x Business Coaches Down Under series podcast, hosted by myself, Gary Ryan, and
Alison Wheeler.
And tonight we have an amazing guest, Dr. Hayley O'Neill. Now, Dr. Hayley O'Neill is an assistant professor of biomedical sciences at Bond University, and she focuses on the unique challenges women encounter in weight loss. Now, why are we talking about that in 10X world? It's because when we 10X everything in our life, including our health. So folks, let's get ready and hear from Hayley. Let's go. Well, thank you, Dr. Hayley, for joining us. It's great to have you on board. Let's go and have a great chat.
Thanks, Gary.
As we know, there's so much hype. There's so much information. I mean, just go on Instagram, right? And everyone is selling you the latest and greatest thing. You know, just do the carnivore thing, do the keto thing, do the intermittent fasting thing, do water fasting, do this, do that. Like your head's boggling. Oh, the cookie diet, the lemon diet, and the list goes on and on to the point that people don't know whether the difference between a piece of fruit and a lolly and which is better, and it's so confusing. What do people do? So when it comes to actually, okay, someone's at that point where they want to improve their health, they want to lose weight, or they just don't even know how to get out of the situation they're in, why should people come to you, Dr. Hayley, as a weight loss expert? Like, what makes you different? Why come to you?
Yeah, well, number one, I'm qualified. So I've got over 15 years experience in academic research. So that's including a bachelor degree in biomedical science, a PhD. I've also completed a 5-year postdoc research fellow, which I had funding from the Australian government, which spanned over 5 years. Where I've studied metabolism, like at its core. I've gone from basic or simple research in the labs to running large, complex clinical trials. So I've been at the forefront of working with women, working with men, trying to find out why people struggle to lose weight and keep it off. So dietary interventions, novel dietary interventions, including traditional calorie restriction, intermittent protocols, surgical weight loss, behavioral interventions. I've even looked at the relationship between stress and weight. Like, is there really a relationship between cortisol and why you can't lose weight? So, that's my academic background. So that's, I think, the first one that is important, that I'm not just someone off TikTok telling you to go for this latest diet fad. And secondarily, working with women in clinical trials, I've noticed gaps in the system. A lot of women feel like a failure. They feel like, what the heck am I doing wrong? I try this diet, I regain it. Weight loss is complex. So I break down the science to, bite-sized pieces of information that you can understand. And I don't want you to rely on me. So that's secondarily. I'm going to provide you with the education and the tools and knowledge. So it's not just a 4 or 6 or 8 week program, that you're going to have these tools so you can live a healthier, happier life beyond, 1, 2, 3 years. I'm going to explain why people regain weight and what you can do to prevent that. So, it's about individualized or personalized things. If something's not working for you, I'll find the science, I'll pivot, and we'll try something different. One size fits none. In my experience, when it comes to weight management, complex. We take a holistic approach looking at, stress, sleep, self-care, nutrition, exercise, metabolism. So these things I understand. I know how to do research. Even in my academic role, that is my role, to teach people how to do research. So I'm bringing all these tools to work with women. I am a busy mom. I have a partner. And I'm a real person. So I think, that personable approach, I get it. We've all been through crap. And I think that's the point of difference with me. I am personable, I am transparent, I'm in your corner cheering you along because I want the best for you with your health and wellness. So I think they're the main 3 reasons.
Which is awesome and amazing. And you said something earlier around you've studied the relationship between stress, sleep, weight loss, etc. So if you were to say, what do you think that, because there are things people are doing quote unquote wrong, right? Like however we want to
skipping breakfast.
Yeah, that's right. So what do you think are some of those critical mistakes that people give us 2 or 3 things that you like from all of your, not just the research, but actually working with real people to get real results, which you do. What do you think are, say, 2 or 3 of the absolute main things that you see people are just crucifying themselves in terms of being able to get a result? What are some of the main things? 2 or 3.
So particularly with women and weight management. So the classic characteristics are when they come to me, they're embarrassed, they're exhausted, they feel like a failure, they're skipping meals. This is the classic one, skipping especially breakfast to save on calories. They have the cup of coffee, they don't eat much through the day, maybe a little bit of salad, so they're not getting protein, they're not getting nutrition. Then they are hungry in the afternoon, so they eat everything in sight, and then that just continues through the evening, which is really bad for your metabolism. So that is the classic, I guess, characteristics or routine that a number of people struggling to lose weight have. And, you know, the weight's not shifting, so I'm going to restrict my calories more. Often, and we find this even in the clinical trials, is that you're often under eating, okay, which is not good for your metabolism. You're not having enough calories. And probably secondarily, I think you're coming from a state of depletion or stress, whether it be in your life, but around your eating and your eating habits and your lifestyle. So to then go and do calorie restriction, I think that's another sort of stress that you're putting on your body. So you really need to set up the strategy when it comes to good weight management. It's just not go in and do a big super calorie restriction or try something. You know, we need to put things in place so you can optimize how well you're going to do in the program.
Yeah, Dr. Hayley, one of the things we find with our business coaching is that a lot of business owners, their starting point and level of understanding of business knowledge of how to run a business is far lower in reality than what they believe it is initially. And it's not that we're trying to show off or anything like that, but we have to get them to the correct information to start with, and as you know, to really be able to help them. Is it a similar situation with you, Dr. Hayley, that people are coming with a lot
absolutely. Absolutely it is. And, you know, you can, even when I'm having one-on-one consultations or like a discovery call and finding out what women or what people are struggling with, you know, you might get to the end and then they'll be like, oh, okay. So like, you know, you commend them. Okay, you're eating pretty healthy, but we could do this. Oh, okay. Well, I think I'm eating pretty healthy now. I'm just going to, you know, my diet's all good. So I'm just going to stick to that. I'm going to go to the gym now and I'm going to smash out, you know, the gym workout every day. So it's not until, and I've had this with clients, that, you know, the first week or second week that they're like, oh my goodness, everything that I've been doing for the last 10, 20 years is actually doing more harm than good. And even as you progress through the program, I had one client for a year and we would do different strategies and it would really mess with her head because I would change the calories. I'd put them back up to sort of metabolic reset her body. But she could not get her head around it, that she's that fear of, I'm going to gain weight, you know. So it's a full, and that's part of my program, is a 4-step process. And one of them is rewiring, you know, purging out old beliefs and then followed by rewiring new beliefs, the systems. Yeah.
And clearly metabolism plays a big role in everything that's going on from a health perspective. I'm assuming a lot of people think they know what it means, but what does it really mean, metabolism?
Metabolism is basically a reaction that occurs in your body that allows, it's what happens in the cells. It's like a domino effect, okay? It's chemical reaction. The main one is producing energy, and that happens in the mitochondria, ATP, okay? So when we think of just basically chemical reactions in the body, like a domino effect. And if you can imagine, like in Japan or the London Underground, like the train station with all these different pathways, they're called metabolic pathways. Some might help you burn fat, some might help you burn carbohydrate, some might be used to synthesize or make hormones. So this network around the body, that's basically what metabolism is.
Okay. And
yeah, so you're either breaking down things, you have reactions that are breaking down things, or you have things that are, making things. So anabolic or catabolic processes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So metabolism also works for people that want to gain weight, because there would be people that they're at maybe for whatever circumstances. It could be for an athletic reason, for example, or it just could be because they've actually, through all the dieting and things they've done, they're actually at an unhealthy level of
they stop their metabolism.
Yeah.
So when we think about metabolic rate or metabolism, and we can break that down into different components too. And our basal or resting metabolic rate, and that's basically how much energy our body is burning under resting conditions. And it's determined by things like age, muscle, whether we're female or male, mainly how much muscle we have. The more muscle you have, you're going to be burning more energy under resting conditions. And you know what happens when we try and lose weight? Our metabolic rate drops. So the body goes, hang on, stuff you, I'm starving. So drop in metabolic rate, which, often that keeps on going down as you lose weight, because you're not as big, but it's also a famine or a starvation reaction. So you need to try different methods in order to reset that metabolism, because you don't, the biggest loser, like there's some amazing research done 6 years after, and basically their metabolic rate never fully went back to its original state. And people who have excess weight actually have quite different sometimes metabolic profiles. So the flexibility sometimes is lost, but through good nutrition, meal timing strategies, holistic sleep patterns, all that sort of stuff, you can optimize your metabolism, based on your physical activity levels, your age. Good thing is that it doesn't really slow down that much until we get to probably 50 to 60. But there are things that we can do definitely to boost our metabolism. People think metabolic slowdown, that's why I'm gaining weight, but usually it's attributed to lifestyle factors, sometimes hormones in women, but lifestyle has a big role to play.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm interested also from a business perspective, how did the Dr. Hayley O'Neill business come about? Was it intentional? Did it just all of a sudden one day, because of your research, someone found out what you were doing and they went at a party, can you help me? And you went, I think I can. How did that work?
I've always had a passion for, like, it's very sports, very nutrition background. My mum's Italian, so she always fed us good food. I always played a lot of sport growing up. So I guess that passion and inquisitive mind, and that sort of came young. But then when I did biomedical science, I finished, I was like, I don't even know if I like research, go on to do that. So basically, when I finished my PhD, I had characterized, I could do stuff on animal models. I had characterized nearly 10 different models, which is quite a phenomenal amount. And I thought, but what does all this mean in humans? So then I moved into clinical research, and I started working with women and noticing gaps in the system. They were going for bariatric surgery, but they didn't know, that, okay, poor weight loss outcomes might be associated with higher, body mass index or higher weight, or if you're iron deficient, or I didn't know that this was going to lead to that, and I wouldn't have had it if I knew this. So like misinformation there. And also, I guess understanding the core and seeing the nonsense on the internet, on social media, and research is very slow. Clinical trials are very slow. Like a big clinical trial that I finished, we still haven't published, and it was done in, I think, 2015. Is it 2015, 2017. So, 5-7 years sometimes to get this research out. And I'm like, I want to share my knowledge. I want to help people. Like, I want to help women, you know, many women desperate to lose weight when we're doing these recruitment interviews, you know, crying in the office, desperate to be in your study, and then seeing the transformation from them wearing black clothes to colorful clothes and lipstick, new job, leaving toxic relationships. And I thought, I have so much knowledge to share. And I guess the thing is, when you're in academia, sometimes you can become quite, you know, that was a big thing, really fear to step out. But also it's been great because it's an opportunity for me to show my other side, my creativity side, you know, still professional, but you know, I've been through stuff. I've been through burnt out. I've been through, you know, being so active and healthy to then not even being able to run 400 meters around the oval without feeling, you know, like that whole busy mum thing and putting everyone first. So that is when, probably during COVID, once I finished my postdoc, I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to do this health or wellness coaching. And my sister and, you know, everyone's like, you should, you know, do that on the side. And so I did a plant supplement company first, and then the coaching and wellness stuff came second. So I've been at it for probably 3 years. But now, yeah, sort of working, yeah, full time and doing this. But I just love being able to share information directly with women and people. And you know, I haven't had that before, other than at conferences or in that academic sort of world, which for me, big thing was dumbing down that science to, you know, I have so much knowledge and it can be overwhelming for people sometimes. So that's been a real thing for me, is to simplify, and sometimes less is more. And yeah, but the funny thing is, now I'm doing more of my, you know, the business, but then the uni and opportunities through there, like presenting and women, you know, wanting to know more. So, you know, something that I was so fearful of doing, I think it's turning out to be quite a nice mix. You know, and I know even when I do like presentations or stuff like that, it's like, well, you know, like, thanks for sharing that with me. Yeah, so I don't know if I've answered your question, but that's, I guess it's, yeah, taken a bit of like this, but I think it's really gets me through, you know, when the days sometimes are hard in the professional academic world, like you know, getting up and being creative and actually getting results pronto, basically, I find that quite rewarding.
That's part of really actually making a difference and being able to help people. Although the academia, you know, it's very long.
Yes.
This is far faster. And it was interesting you said about, you know, as you've started to promote yourself and your business, a whole bunch of other opportunities are opening up. So something that we talk about a lot in the 10X world is promotion, you know, being omnipresent, getting yourself out there. Like, if no one knows you exist, they can't find you for those speaking opportunities, whether that's in your academic career, your business, whatever it is. If you aren't promoting yourself and letting people know how amazing you are, then no one can pick you for those opportunities either. And it's super clear, Hayley, when you speak, how passionate you are, how much knowledge you have. Like, it's awesome. I could listen to you all day long. It is awesome to feel that, right? And people do deserve to work with you, because you do have so much knowledge and you do have so much passion and desire to help. And again, I can definitely tell that as you've become omnipresent, as in more known, absolutely all of those opportunities are opening up, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And similarly, you mentioned that folk, when they're having these insights and they're learning and they're managing their health better particularly from a nutrition perspective, you mentioned that they leave toxic relationships sometimes.
Absolutely. Right?
And so there is that significant flow-on effect, which again is very much aligned with what we believe from a 10X perspective, is that when you start, you know, tuning up and getting one part of your life working properly, the opportunity for that to actually flow into the other aspects of your life increases exponentially. And so, you know, some obviously you ought to imagine, you know, like that's very rewarding, Not that you're telling anyone to leave anyone or anything like that, no doubt, but the people you're helping people as they get better from a health perspective with their nutrition, they're making these decisions.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's not just the nutrition, like we talk about boundaries. It's, you know, giving women the power and confidence that, you know, that they're worth listening to, and everyone has something to offer. And, you know, like the amount of energy, like I'm so exhausted, I don't know. And then you start mapping it out. Well, oh my goodness, look at all this crap that's going on. Can we simplify things? You know, and I think the women, you know, they do a lot of reflection themselves, but most people just want to be heard and want someone in their corner cheering them along and knowing that you've got their back. So, you know, it was very special even in our clinical trials, you know, having women be so open with you, and they I think they're expecting to rock up and have this very sterile sort of clinical experience, but you know, the team running clinical trials, which, you know, is very special. And if the team doesn't work and the dynamics in the team, because, you know, these women are in the clinical trials for 6-12 months. So you want them in because it's costing a lot of money to put them through a trial. But then with my clients as well, like they're investing, you know, the number one thing I ask from them is be committed to the process and, you know, trust in what I'm saying. And, you know, step out your comfort zone, because that's when, you know, growth happens. So, you know, I definitely know all my clients, you know, having those tools there, even long after, that's something that's going to be memorable for them to always reflect back and go to, you know, like these little light bulb moments of, oh my goodness, these things in my life are contributing to where, you know, the struggles that you might be having. So
I would imagine that one of the challenges and maybe even barriers that people have for taking this first step to sort of get involved with you with a program is, especially if they are women with a family, and rightly or wrongly, you know, women are often still preparing most of the meals in many families still today. Rightly or wrongly, that's still, the data says that that's still the case. Is there a barrier where they're thinking, well, I don't want to have to be making all these different meals, and because I don't want to add extra work to my already busy life, I'm not going to look after my own nutrition. So what can you tell us about that, Hayley?
Yeah, well, number one, usually women who have kids, they're eating the scraps because they don't want to waste the leftovers, the Vegemite on toast, you know, and that is one thing we notice, is that fear of wasting food. But myself, so I was a single mum. I had an 18-month-old and a 2.5-year-old. So, you know, making sure that kids ate well and I ate well, and then getting back into career, you know, after having maternity leave, all that sort of stuff. That's where it stems from. All my clients are busy professional women. A lot of them have families. They don't want complicated. They want simple, effective solutions. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I've worked very hard the last 3 years to really simplify my programs, from even like my training videos, 5-minute bite-sized things, meal plans that are very simple, that the kids can eat, that you're not going to be spending hours every day preparing. Every day is not going to be a different meal. It's, you know, having the selection and the variety that you want. You can still have your wine, you can still have your cheese, you can still have your chocolate, but something that's going to work long term. Okay, that's where I'm going, because I think the weight loss is the easy part, but it's keeping it off and sustaining it, and that lifestyle transformation. That's where the challenge is. So, you know, I think that's really key, like really understanding a woman or a person's lifestyle, because otherwise they're not going to be able to stick to it. Like, how many times do people try programs and then they go, I was doing so well, and then I went out for my friend's birthday and I had a few drinks and everything, you know, or so I know this stuff happens. And when, you know, in my programs, if that happens, it's like, okay, you know, you got to live life. Let's get back on track. And that's one of the key things, as my clients say, is that previously, if they'd gone away for a weekend or slipped off for a few days, it would just continue to go and they would gain heaps of kilos, but they're confident now that they, okay, I know what to do to pull myself back, and you just start again the next day, okay? Because it's not a 1 or 2 week thing. We're looking years, you know, women going through menopause, perimenopause, you're halfway through your life, you know, we're playing the next 10, 20, 30 years. So that's what I have in my mind when I work with my clients. Yeah.
And what would a typical sort of, I know you mentioned at the start, Dr. Hayley, that you have bespoke and unique programs for everyone, but is it, you know, a typical program that someone that has never gone down this path, if you know, you'd be able to help them understand what it might look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So my programs, so I have an online mini course. If we start at the bottom, we do a strategy like 90-minute session, you get a meal plan. If we go up, we've got a 3-week online mini metabolic reset set. It's called Energize and Thrive. It's got meal plans, training modules, everything's in there. Very affordable. The training videos basically take you through that. And then we've got our 8-week Kickstart program. We've got a 4-month program and a 6-month program. Usually women like to start because they're a bit unsure on the 8-week program, and then some of them might do the 8-week program a few times, or they'll move on to a 4-month or a 6-month maintenance program. Just depends what your goals are, how much weight you might want to lose. Is it energy? Do you just want someone in your corner keeping you on track and accountable? So, you know, they're the options. If we break it down further, what are the 4 key components? So we normally start with the metabolic reset, or like a bit of a detox thing. I like to say metabolic reset, gut reset. Then we go into the purge to emerge, I like to call it. So purging out old beliefs. Then we go into the rewiring of the new beliefs, new systems, and then we have the lifestyle transformation. So that comes at the end once all these other things are put in place. If you're trying to, you know, the weight management, not every part of the program is an active calorie restriction or weight loss component. And this is really important because we want to put nourishment into the body, good food. I want to know with the one-on-one personalized programs that this is working. Yep, okay, let's modify this each step of the way. So I have a strategy that I implement that I know that's going to work, whether it's losing weight or maintaining it. And, you know, we're playing the long game. So adapting along the way. That's what you get with the one-on-one, that really metabolic mapping. You know, we look at sleep, we look at gut health, we look at self-care. All those things are incorporated into it. Each of the sessions are bit of education, bit of, you know, going through everything, maybe adjusting meal plans, things like that. But that's probably, yeah, pretty comprehensive overview.
They think too, the way, like it can sound like that it's complicated, but a lot of what you're doing is in the background, so that in the implementation phase or the information you give across, it's actually simplified down to make it very simple, implementable, right? So that someone can actually follow it today, tomorrow. It's not going to take you a week to try to read a, you know, thesis of documents and go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You make it super simple, super implementable, but obviously backed by all of the background stuff that you do. Absolutely. You know, in looking at all of those things for a person in order to put that program forth, which I think is key for someone to understand as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of background stuff that I do, like even in the one-on-one sessions, I'm spending hours, you know, afterwards or before getting, you know, the latest science or tweaking things. And I'm just, do this, eat at this time, this is your meals for the week, and, you know, how you're feeling, energy levels, blah, blah, blah. So that all goes in, but that's the feedback as well, how easy it is for a lot of people, or for everyone. They've said, I actually am surprised that the meals are so tasty, I'm not hungry, and it's so easy to implement, and I'm losing weight and, you know, not thinking about it, and I'm not hungry. So, and I feel great. So I think when people think about losing weight, they think starvation, vomit-worthy protein smoothies or cardboard-tasting protein bars or salads. That is not where I'm about. I'm like, usually women can't eat the amount of food that I'm prescribing to them.
Wow, and so that's the Italian background's coming out.
You're going to be having pasta. You're going to be having wine.
Absolutely. You mentioned the cheese earlier. Now, for any of the fellas out there that are listening in, and I know we've spoken and focused a lot on women, but Dr. Hayley has shared with us that men are also welcome into these programs. In fact, just signed up a new male this afternoon before the show came on, folks. So it's absolutely available really for anyone that's really struggling with their nutrition and metabolism and energy, and Dr. Hayley's able to get you on the right path. And what we just heard there, as a metaphor, a menu of services that you get to choose from and work through that are going to be right for you. Now we'll throw to Alison for our last question.
Well, what I would actually really like to know, Dr. Hayley, we live in the 10X world. Obviously, this is the 10X Business Coaches Down Under podcast. So what we always like to ask at the end is, what does 10X mean to you?
Oh, 10X mean to me? Well, obviously, I've been following you guys for a while, quite a few months now. And 10X, I guess the most recent one is Sell or Be Sold. And that I think is going to help in every aspect of my life, but just being not just within my business. And that's something I think from being involved with you, Alison, that I've learned that if you're doing one thing poorly, in one aspect of your life, you're probably carrying it over to the other aspects as well, whether that be relationship, family, finances, whatever. So getting consistency across the board in how I live my life and how I show up, taking action, I guess for me, it's like consistency. So, and being comfortable with being uncomfortable, that's something that sort of I've been reflecting on a bit this week, stepping out of that comfort zone. I guess it's that fear of failure, these things that come up, but just going for it. So, yeah. Awesome. Is that a good enough answer?
That is what it means to you, right? Like everyone's different. It's perfect because it is, Sell or Be Sold, great book, right? And the flow-on effect of what you're saying is you take yourself everywhere. So, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And learning that so that, it's not, we aren't separate people everywhere. We are one person. So when we are improving all areas, everything, everything rises. And consistency, you spoke about consistency, and that's such an important part. It's not necessarily, life is not a sprint, right? It's how do we be consistent more regularly than try and, if you went to the gym once and then you don't go for a month, that's not going to do a lot. Whereas if you went for 5 minutes every day, you get a lot further along. So, and it's the same in what you implement in your programs. They're absolutely perfect. So Gary, I will hand it back to you to wrap us up.
Thank you. And now we always like to have a little quote from, and you just mentioned, Dr. Hayley, that's Sell or Be Sold, right? This is from page 152. And it would relate to a lot of people that would often be saying to themselves, I don't have time to do this. I know I need to do it, but I don't have time, right? The most powerful person in the world has 24 hours in a day to get what they need to get done. The richest person in the world has 3,600 minutes in a day to earn their money. The most educated person in the world has 168 hours in a week to learn. The greatest athlete in the world has 365 days in a year to train. How much time do you have? And the question, folks, is how much time do you have to step up and commit to your health and reach out to someone like Dr. Hayley O'Neill, who's got the expertise, got the science, got the backing, but most importantly, got the communication skills, as you've seen through our interview, to be able to help you to understand, without necessarily knowing all the science, what you need to do, because that's what a coach does. A coach directs and tells you this is what you need to do. So what would be some of the best ways, Dr. Hayley, for people to contact you?
Yeah, so either just book in your breakthrough session straight away, like that's why I said today to my new client, I said just get in and get started. You can join my private Facebook group. You can send a message to me on Messenger, email. There's various means. So happy to chat. I offer free 15-minute discovery calls. Just where you're struggling, how I can help you. So just don't, the biggest fear or the biggest challenge I find is just taking that first step to reach out. So, hopefully I've made you feel at ease and comfortable to share, maybe what you're struggling with or what you might need help with. But definitely fully supportive, ethical integrity. That's a big part of who I am, obviously, with my clinical research experience. So yeah, don't fear, don't sit there waiting, wondering what the heck you're doing wrong. Just reach out. I'd love to hear from you.
Thanks, Dr. Hayley. And folks, we'll have all those links in the show notes. Really easy, just click away and book in your session. Thank you so much for giving up your time to chat with Alison and I this evening.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Gary. Thanks, Alison.
You're welcome, folks. So, folks, if you want to continue to learn more, make sure you tune in to every single episode of the 10X Business Coaches Down Under Series podcast. And most importantly, if you need to 10X your business, whatever your business is, if you want to 10X your profit and learn how to make your life the dream that you truly desire, then go and check out the 10X Down Under group mentoring program, because that's where you will get Alison and I 48 times a year helping you specifically to grow your business. There's a whole heap of resources that come with that. There's also a link to that in the show notes. So once again, folks, we look forward to having you on our next episode. Bye.
Bye, everyone.